Hey everybody, I'm Tim here with some top tips for building a Rockstar cigar collection, and you're watching Cigars Daily. I want to invite you to get even more out of this video when you watch it now on CigarsDailyPlus.com, because we're always working to make it better on Cigars Daily Plus. Also in this video, I am puffing on AJ Fernandez's New World Puro Especial. This thing just got a facelift, a new box design and band design for the stick that looks ultra sexy, but this is also the kind of cigar that I would put in a collection just because of the quality of the flavor, and definitely a cigar you'd want to have in your collection if you like really bold, very strong blends. People get into cigars because of the incredible flavor that comes with lighting up a premium blend. But one of the amazing sides of this that gets less attention is the ability to cultivate an awesome collection with cigars that you know you're gonna love when you light them up, and yeah, even sometimes just like looking at them and taking care of them. You can think of starting a collection sort of like starting a little family. The only difference is, unlike your real family, they won't leave you crying in the shower after dinner. This is a collection that's totally built to your preferences with cigars that you love or want to try and hope to fall in love with. And so today I wanted to give you some tips for starting and building a Rockstar collection, because there's a few things to know about this, some pitfalls that I fell into along the way that you could avoid if you just want to heed some simple warnings, or if you've already kicked off your collection. These are some things that can sort of help you find your way, or you feel like you're stuck somewhere, overcome some barriers and get your collection to the next level. And so let me take you guys through my top tips on building a Rockstar cigar collection. My first piece of advice is the one that I actually consider to be most important in this video. I think there's a lot of helpful tips here, but I want to tell you up front this. Your collection belongs to you, and there's no hard, fast rules about doing this. It should be the thing that you want it to be. And if somebody tries to come along and tell you your collection has to have this, or it has to be stored this way, tell them to shove off, because truly, if your collection doesn't suit you and suit somebody else, it's not really your collection. So pick some things out of this, maybe that are guidelines to help you steer your collection in the right direction. Everything else, throw out the window and do it the way you really want to. And as you consider what kind of collection is good for you, one thing I think is really important is some really good diversity. If you look around at the different collections that people share online, I'll show you some from the Cigars Daily Nation Facebook group. There are collections big and small. Some of them have got just a few types of cigars in it, while others are have no two cigars are the same. Some of them come with cigars of every size, or all the cigars are the same size. Some of them have a lot of sticks in them, and some of them only have a couple. It doesn't matter what you decide to do, but I think that variety is a great value. Today in the cigar world, it doesn't make sense to smoke just one cigar because there's so much out there, an ocean of flavor and variety. As you pick up sticks for your collection, let yourself have some different wrappers or different sizes, different manufacturers. Anything you can do to diversify will give you a different experience on cigars, and once in a while you're going to find that you found something that you're truly in love with that you didn't even expect. But as you think through a variety for your cigar assortment, you should also consider buying cigars, and especially new blends that you're trying out, in multiple. Get more than one. One of my favorite sayings is that when you get a new cigar, get one to test and one to rest. At least two of the blend. There's nothing worse than going and getting a 5-pack from the store. You get them home, you smoke through them, and one of them is absolutely amazing. You've fallen in love with it. When you go back, you can't get a hold of it because other people happen to like it too. It's sort of like falling in love with a girl right when you guys break up. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I know a lot of people who will buy at least two of a cigar just to try them out. Some people will even get as many as a 5-pack, and if they don't like it, maybe they'll give it a second chance, and then the other 3 they'll give away if they still don't like it. There's a lot of different ways to go with buying multiples. You can get a few or a lot, but whatever you do, make sure you got some backups in case that stick just blows your freaking mind. And this next big tip is one that's pretty common knowledge in the cigar world, but if you're just getting into this, you might not already know. So I'll tell you, if you are a fan of traditional, non-flavored and infused cigars, but you also tend to enjoy something with a little sweetness in it, you want to keep flavored and infused stuff separate from the cigars that are not. That's a huge deal because infusion, the sweetness, the chocolate, the aroma, whatever it is on the cigar, is going to infuse itself into your non-infused cigars, and suddenly your whole collection tastes like chocolate or pumpkin spice or whatever the hell it is you picked up at the store that day. And so if you've got traditional and infused cigars in your collection, make sure you keep them apart. They straight up don't get along, and if you put them together, the infused cigars are going to win. And let me make some recommendations about how and where to store your compilation of cigars, because if you're really going to get all the enjoyment out of them, they gotta be in good shape. So you're going to pick a really good humidor, and this has got to be sort of a natural habitat for your sticks. It should maintain temperature and humidity in a way that keeps the cigars healthy. People in the cigar world talk about the 70-70 rule. You want your cigars to be stored at about 70 degrees Fahrenheit and about 70% humidity. At the same time, those are also just recommendations on ranges. When it comes to temperature, you can really look for temperatures to go a little bit lower. Some people keep them as low as like 55 degrees. Other people keep them all the way up to like 73, 4, 5 degrees. You don't want to go above 75 because that's when you risk getting things like cigar beetles or mold. So keep it sort of in a general range there, but again, it's up to your preference. Also, humidity is a range. Like the max you want to go on humidity is going to be 72, 73, or 4% humidity. Those are pretty high, but you can also drop it down. I've seen some people keep their humidors as low as 60%. The most important thing is that however the temperature sets and wherever the humidity is, that when you pull out a cigar, it's in the condition you want it to be in to light it up. And think about like how big and what kind of container you're going to use. First of all, the type of container is a big deal because there's so many options out there today. Make sure that you review and research what they are. Today, we've had more variety of humidors than we've had in 100 years. Wood is always a very traditional one and has been for about 70 years, but you can also use Tupperware because it's a lot more affordable and it's much easier to get your hands on. And if you're growing your collection, you can get a few more of those pretty cheaply. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But this humidor is going to be like a home for your cigars. You wouldn't go out and get yourself a 6,000 square foot mansion if you lived by yourself. And adversely, you wouldn't move a family of 8 into a studio apartment probably because you'd be pretty cramped in there. So think about your collection, what it'll go into. These days, a lot of people are favoring refrigerated humidors made by companies like New Air or Adu, and there are other ones out there as well. You can find reviews about these products online. I've even reviewed a few of them right here on Cigars Daily. So check that out and sort of know what kind of humidor you want. And then the big thing is size. And size matters, and I think that we all kind of can admit that. At the same time, for your collection, you want to make sure that you don't end up like the AR-15 owner who buys a rifle and then throws away half the gun in order to like upgrade it and put new parts on it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. As you think about like how you're building your cigars, you want to know sort of where you're headed. Get an idea of how big of a collection you want to have overall. Maybe you want it to be 20 cigars. It'll always fit in a desktop humidor and something that you never have to really worry about or maintain too strenuously. Maybe you want your collection to get up to 500 cigars. If you're going to do that, search up front for something you can use to keep 500 cigars and know what it's going to take to maintain that as well. But give yourself sort of like a direction to go and know where you sort of want to land with the whole thing. That way you don't end up buying container after wooden humidor box, and then you've got your like acrylic in there and you've got some Tupperware and then a refrigerated humidor. Your collection will look sort of unintentional, and one of the cool things about cigars is they're super classy, so you can let your collection look that way if you want to. And so there you have it. And as I commonly tell you guys when I put together these lists of tips, these are not all of the tips on collecting cigars. So if you've built a collection, please put down below the things that you did that you would do again, or the things that you did that you would recommend not doing as well. And if you're trying to build yours at home, make sure you check the comments because the guys and gals in the Cigars Daily Nation are some of the best and brightest. And I want to encourage you, check this video out on cigarsdailyplus.com because we're always working to make it better on on Cigars Daily Plus. Thank you all so much for watching. This is Tim signing off for Cigars Daily, and I will see you in the comments.